YouTube. In this video, we go head to head between my two favorite smartphones of 2025, the Galaxy Z Fold 7, which I've absolutely been in love with since day one, and I'm still in love. And then we have the newly announced iPhone 17 Pro Max. And in that whole Pro Max iPhone hemisphere, this thing is given pro tier smartphone delivery. Now, these are two devices that are separated in ways that obviously one has an advantage heavily in a certain type of function that the other cannot replicate. But that's the beauty of this. These both are productivity heavy pro devices with pro price tags, and they absolutely deserve to go head to head. So let's smash heads right now. So starting off in the reality of what just outshines the other in between these two. I'm gonna put the meat of this review up front. Battery life, hands down, iPhone 17 Pro Max. I won't even waste your time, and you already knew this. We've been dealing with the same battery size in the Z Fold 7 since what? The Z Fold 5, 6, 7? That like literally has been the exact same battery size, and it has not increased. Now, what did increase was the efficiency of the Snapdragon 8 Elite that's inside of here, which allowed for, honestly, good battery. Like, my battery in the Z Fold 7 is good. It's not great, but it's good. Speaking of great, the 17 Pro Max, especially the eSIM only version, oh my goodness. What is this, 5,088 milliamp hours? Literally a bigger battery than a Samsung Ultra, which is crazy. So Samsung, you got to bring that heat next year. I already know, S26, come on now. 6,000 milliamp hours? Can I get a yes? Maybe? This is the best battery in the game. So I'm not even going to dance around that. Another place where one outshines the other. Now, your wallet might disappear, but this one won't. The Bootstrap MagSafe wallet from today's video partner features built-in Find My tracking without needing any bulky AirTags. Made from handcrafted full-grain leather with a lifetime warranty, and it's rechargeable via MagSafe. Paired with their iPhone case featuring two-tone chrome tan leather and fully wrapped camera protection, the case offers both open and closed bottom designs with the same lifetime warranty. Together, they create the perfect everyday carry setup that's trackable, durable, and premium. Okay, so let's put an end to the lost wallet days and wrap your device in full grain leather from Bootstrap via the links down in the description below. Is this Z Fold 7? This is super slim. As you guys can see, the Z Fold 7 is slim and light. It is a lot lighter and a lot slimmer to carry in everyday usage. And when I say slimmer, I mean like slimmer. Look at this thing. And the weight right here. So weight differences, we have 215 grams on the Z Fold 7 versus the 233 grams on the 17 Pro Max. That's a pretty significant difference in weight, and you feel it. But again, though, it's very well balanced on the 17 Pro Max. And I'll just say this. This is my shining star for weight and thinness of 2025. I know we have the iPhone Air and whatnot, but, you know, this can't even be in a category of conversation between these two because this does not offer what these two offer. And another thing that the Z Fold 7 has as a heavy advantage over the 17 Pro Max is this screen size and the fact that it is foldable and there's a second screen. So we have a screen that can rival this screen on the front, and then I can unfold to another screen that just kicks the butt of this screen. So better screens, better sizing of screens, better display. And the reason why this matters is in the area of productivity. This is why the Z Fold 7 just absolutely shines for me on a day-to-day usage. The screen layout, the screen ability to handle documents in this platform is bar none. Like the 17 Pro Max cannot match it. Also, as well as when I go to websites, getting the full website and not a mobile version. So like I can go into my YouTube studio and look at like my back end of YouTube in the full way that I would on a desktop PC. And that just speaks volumes. Handling contracts, doing everything here. My Monday.com. Look at this. This is my content tracker, Monday.com. I can track where I'm at as far as on projects, editing, releases, publishing, brand deals, things like that. An absolute productivity hog. Now, I could do this on the 17 Pro Max, but It's at half the screen, and that does not cut it when it comes to things like this. Another place, let me show you. Okay, in YouTube Studio on the back end, I'm not gonna show you, my personal information on here, but I get the full layout as if I'm on a browser. And that is clutch. If I need to go into a YouTube video and edit something, I have full access to the full back end. That is priceless to me. The productivity capabilities of the Z Fold 7 outshine. I know I started off talking about the screens, but that rolled me into productivity, which is what outshines the 17 Pro Max. Now, I will give credit. This is in the realm of glass sandwiches, especially in the iPhone, ecosystem. This is the productivity hog. This is the beast. Battery life for days. A beautiful screen, nonetheless. We'll talk about screen, specifics and dimensions in just a second, but the screen on here looks amazing. Out in the sun, yo, it looks so crispy and so clear. Now, a place where this screen outshines this screen, hold on, oh damn, I'm fumbling. Oh, you getting nervous, CJ? I know, we about to talk bad about the Z Fold 7. I'm nervous and I'm playing. But a place where this screen outshines this screen is it has the new anti-reflective property to it. This screen on the Z Fold 7 is one of the most reflective things out there. And that's one of my critiques to the Z Fold 7 that needs to happen on the next model is we need an anti-reflective property on this main screen right here. And same would go out here. You're able to get the film. I have the film on here. So out here, I'm beating the iPhone, right? Look at that. Look at that. Because I have that Samsung screen protector film that you can get. It's pretty inexpensive. You put it on, there's a line in the middle and then it goes away. We've already handled that debacle. We'll get into like cameras and camera quality a little bit later. I'll show that head to head unless you guys just want to talk about it now. Because I could go outside, I could get the footage. We could come back, we could discuss that, and then we'll get into the specifics. I think you guys said you wanted to see the cameras go head to head. Okay. So I want to just kick this video off shooting with an anamorphic lens, capturing footage of this beautiful Z Fold 7. But again, that kind of goes to my point to the fact that iPhones, they have all these attachments and these things to help better capture with their cameras. Like I'm able to put ND filters on the iPhone and so forth. But right now I'm just using an anamorphic lens. The sun is tucked behind some clouds, so I was able to get this shot without it being overexposed. Okay, so I just want you guys to get a look at what I'm speaking of, as well as you guys get to see the rear camera 8K 30 out of the Z Fold 7 as I'm using that to film this shot. It's a crazy rig. Yes, not everyone is doing this, but it's just having the option to be able to rig up something like this is the point when I speak on the pro side of this device. All right, front-facing camera on both of these devices, 4K 60 on both. We got the Z Fold 7 in my right hand, shooting log on the front-facing camera. Put respect on the Z Fold 7. And then we have the 17 Pro Max in my left hand, front-facing camera, 4K 60, shooting Apple ProRes log, Apple log 2, whatever, all that good stuff. Anyways, this is all tit for tat. At the end of the day, both of these devices are fire. Comment down below. Leave your bias at the door. Okay, so when it comes to the rear-facing camera, 200 megapixels, 8K 30 on the Z Fold 7 with Samsung log. Put respect on the Z Fold 7. And then we have the Apple, ProRes, Apple log with 4K 60 right now, a modest 4K 60. You can do 4K 120, but right now I'm just keeping it 4K 60. Now I do have my ND filter on here because why wouldn't I use it? I'm always showing you guys the best that these devices have to offer. That's why there's 8K 30 on the Z Fold 7, and then we just have our ND filter with a 4K 60 recording on the 17 Pro Max. Now I use both of these devices for like content creation. I've inserted countless Z Fold 7 Samsung log shots in my videos, and countless, well, soon to be even more countless 17 Pro Max log shots in my content. The reality is this: the tools. I have tools on the 17 Pro Max that I do not have access to on the Z Fold 7. Hopefully the world will open up to the Z Fold 7 being accepted more, and it can be seen as a creative tool as well as a productivity tool. But as of right now, it's just being positioned more to productivity. That's why when it comes to camera and pro features and pro things, 17 Pro Max may have the lead. Now jumping over here into the Galaxy Z Fold 7 being shot on the iPhone's ultra wide camera at 48 megapixels, 4K 60. You guys get to see the quality, and I am using the ND filter. As you guys can see, the sun is peeking out, and The whole point of an ND filter is just to keep from peaking in the shot. Now, when you're using auto mode, which most of you guys are using, it's going to crank things like shutter. But when you crank things like shutter, it just changes the way that the shot and the quality is captured. And if you follow the law of, capturing video, that's not technically what you want to do, which is why ND filters come into play. And I know this is a bunch of pro camera talk, but I mean, that's the only separating factor in between these two. And I'm going to switch into the Z Fold 7's ultra wide really quick, and we can take a look at that quality. Okay, coming in strong with the ultra wide and Samsung log on the Galaxy Z Fold 7 being shot. You guys get to see the quality of the shot. Now, I will bring these up, side by side so you guys can see them. They are capturing something different, but you guys can see the scenery, see the shoes, see the quality, as well as we have the sun peeking out. You guys can see the difference of having an ND filter and not having one. All right, moving into the telephoto. As you guys can see, I'm shooting the exact same item. I'm shooting the right foot with the Z Fold 7 and the left foot with the iPhone. I do have my ND filter on the iPhone, no ND filter on the Z Fold 7. Both are shooting in their log profiles, so both are offering you the best of what they have to offer. I have 4K 60 on both of these devices, so let me know which telephoto actually looks better. Now, before I get out of here and wrap this up, listen, I flipped open the Z Fold 7 with my screen, my viewfinder, so that way I can use the outside screen to see myself while I film this 8K 30 shot. And I just want to speak to a couple of things. That in specific, the fact that you cannot do this on the iPhone. You cannot see yourself while shooting with the best cameras, all of your rear cameras. I can use every single rear camera while seeing myself. I'm looking at myself right now. And that's perfect as a content creator and for vlogging or just framing yourself for shooting yourself with the best cameras. So your TikToks, your hip hop, your flip flop, all of that, anything you create on here is going to be done with the better cameras with better framing. The second thing I want to say to Samsung, I got to give them absolute props. Skin tones. Samsung has corrected skin tones this year so well. So much so, I'm starting to think that they are capturing my skin tone, possibly. We're going to see when we look side by side. But I've been seeing the footage over these multiple comparisons. They're doing a better job than Apple. And that's crazy, because in the past I would say Apple, even though Apple leans very warm and very orange on my skin tones, it was more pleasing than the, non-saturated, over brightened skin tones. But Samsung's been doing their thing. Man, it just makes it even harder to pick. Which one do we choose? Which one should I choose? Yeah. All right, so like I said, I'm putting the meat of this review up front. You guys just saw the cameras head to head. We got 8K capabilities versus a max of 4K 120 and so forth, but we have log on both of these devices. Shout out to Samsung for bringing their log into the Z Fold from the S Ultra line. And we have Apple log that has been here for, the past previous models, but now is went even further with the ability to do Apple ProRes, RAW, and so forth. But in the realm of cameras, I'll say this. You get more pro features and pro capabilities on the iPhone. I have an anamorphic lens for the iPhone. I have ND filters that are made for this, because there's a whole ecosystem and a whole world of brands who create pro tier camera equipment for the iPhone because it's being used in that right. Not so much on the Z Fold. I wish we could get ND filters for the Z Fold, especially with Samsung finally giving a smidge of, pro caliber camera here. We still got to finish it out, Samsung. We still got to finish it out. We still got to get the full S Ultra camera lineup on here. Even if I had to pick one or the other, I could live with their camera. I will say this though, from a more professional and me being able to do B-roll and the things that I could do with camera attachments, I would lean more towards the iPhone for camera. Let's get into the technical aspects. We have the sizing, right? iPhone 17 Pro Max is 163.4 millimeters with a 78 millimeter width and an 8.8 millimeter of thickness. Now on the Z Fold 7, we have 158.4 height with a width of 72.8 and a thickness of 8.9. So they're within 0.1 millimeter in the thickness category. That is crazy. The fact that a foldable is within 0.1 millimeter of the iPhone Pro Max model. Woo! Apple, man, technology is exciting this year from a engineering perspective. And speaking on engineering, the way that this 17 Pro Max is engineered with this unibody design, listen, no one can put hate on that. This thing is handling heat the way that it should, allowing the performance to stay higher longer over time. Okay, so back into the design perspective between these two. This is the first time where, you know, the Z Fold got that number. So it got the IP48 dust and water resistance. And then, you know, the iPhone is continuing its IP68. But that was another step in the right direction for the Z Fold moving into this generation and beyond. Let's talk about the screens from a technical aspect. These are both OLED panels, right? And we all know Samsung manufactures the panels for, you know, Apple, but it's to Apple spec. You guys got to understand there's a reality of manufacturing and so on. Now, Apple tends to grab displays in between LG and Samsung. So I'm not sure which one they did for the 17 Pro Max. You guys know, because you guys know everything. Let me know in the comment section down below. But we have, you know, LTPO on both of these OLEDs. Both can do 120 hertz. Here's where things get interesting. The peak nit brightness. We have a peak nit brightness of 2600 nits on the Z Fold 7 versus the peak nit brightness of 3000 nits on the 17 Pro Max. And like I told you guys, the 17 Pro Max looks absolutely amazing in direct sunlight. We have a 6.9 inch screen on the 17 Pro Max, which is a 1320 by 2868 pixels. And this is a 19.5 by 9 ratio with a 460 ppi density. Now we have two screens to discuss on the Z Fold, but let's talk about the outer cover display, which is a 6.5 inch 1080 2520 pixels with a 422 ppi. So this screen on the iPhone has a higher pixel density than the one on the Z Fold 7. But when we unfold, things get a little different because we go from that 6.5 inch to an 8 inch panel. This is a 1968 by 2184 pixels with a 368 ppi. Now we do lose some pixel density going into the screen. And technically, in reality, you guys are gonna hate to hear this, you Samsung Knights, the iPhone has a more pixel dense and a better screen than the internal screen on the Samsung and the external screen of the Samsung Z Fold 7. So when it comes to the screen and display quality, I like both. I could live with both, but from a technical aspect, the iPhone screen is better than both of the screens. This is just technical. This is not in user practice. I already told you guys earlier that Z Fold 7 wins in my opinion, but from a technical aspect, the 17 Pro Max has better screens. Carrying that further into platform. Let's talk about platform really quick because, you know, we have the latest version of Android. We have the Snapdragon 8 Elite, which is 3 nanometers over here on the Z Fold 7, you know, octa-core processor and whatnot. And then we have the Adreno 830 for graphics. Samsung has great graphics chips in their devices, right? Now with the Apple, the 17 Pro Max, we have the new A19 Pro, which is 3 nanometers as well, hexa-core. And this has that Apple, you know, integrated GPU and whatnot, 6-core graphics. But both of these devices, when it comes to platform and performance, I am satisfied with both of them. Now, technically, obviously, if you look at benchmarks and things like that, you're going to see that A19 Pro chip pull ahead. We have a 4,400 milliamp hour battery in the Z Fold 7 versus the 5,088 milliamp hour in the eSIM only, or 4,823 milliamp hours if you have the nano SIM model of the 17 Pro Max. Either way, you're still beating the milliampage of the Z Fold 7. That's something to consider if you're concerned about, you know, battery and whatnot. Now, the main thing to really discuss in between these two is user experience. And that's the separating factor that would pick either one or the other for a lot of you. And the same goes for me, is that user experience, right? Now, I want to talk about that forbidden word when you're talking about Apple and some other product is ecosystem, but I got to give props. Samsung has a very well developed ecosystem, and some may argue even more developed as you can carry that ecosystem on into your appliances with your washer and dryer, microwaves, refrigerators, and things like that. So being able to do all of that and have all of them connect and speak to one another, smart things and whatnot. Listen, that creates a very well and very robust ecosystem. And honestly, they have one of the better looking smartwatches in my opinion, as this looks just like a traditional smartwatch. And this is like my go-to smartwatch when it comes to style. I love the Galaxy Watch 8 Classic and so on. Now I do have an Apple Watch Ultra in the black and titanium variant, and I love those as well. Now, when it comes to continuity under ecosystems, I got to give it up to Apple. Apple has the best continuity amongst their devices, and it's purely due to the closed loopness they have. Ecosystem is tit for tat. I give continuity to Apple, and I give all around just like amount of ecosystem to Samsung, because it goes well beyond mobile tech. User experience, right? When you use these devices, you get a specific user experience in between the two. I'm going to explain each one from my personal experience, and I specifically held off on this video to use both devices over an extensive amount of time. I've lived with the Z Fold 7 obviously longer as it was released earlier, but man, oh man, the fact that I've lived with this device and it has survived eSIM swaps. There was a time where I had to swap out. I did this combo for a brief second, got right back into here. I had to test these two. I ran these two side by side as my everyday, and then I went back to here. These are my everyday carries, these two right now, just to be clear. So from a user experience perspective, man, I just feel like the Z Fold 7 is giving me everything that I could want and some, you know what I mean? Like I have that productivity aspect. I'm handling my business on the go here, and that matters to me extensively. Also, you get a larger screen for consuming content. Like TikTok looks bigger and better on here. Same thing with IG, Twitter, whatever you choose to consume is bigger and better here on the Z Fold 7. But with the Z Fold or the foldable device becoming as thin as a regular smartphone, that now brings this into the talk. Hands down, it brings it into the conversation against phones like this. Now, there's an area where this X's out, this in certain, pro aspects and things like that. But all in all, for what this is, and I do want to see improvements going into the next one, as far as like, a larger battery would be great. I'm okay without the S Pen. Get that anti-reflective property here, and whatever little small nits and tweaks that you can do. I can't think off the top of my head right now because I've enjoyed this device like wholeheartedly. Like I am consistently using it. I'm consistently enjoying it. I love the freedom of the platform of, Android and whatnot. Now, unfortunately, my launcher is no longer supported or being supported going forward. So these layouts that I do with Nova Launcher, eventually we'll have to switch. I'm going to have to switch into a new launcher. I need help. Someone let me know down in the comment section below, what launcher are you using that's comparable to Nova Launcher, because it's hard to let this go. But as you guys can see, I can customize my device to my liking. I get the performance, I get connectivity, I get productivity, I get everything. So that's what my user experience has been on the Z Fold 7. We can use a little bit more battery for those extra heavy, productive days. But outside of that, man, this thing is coming together extremely well for me. Now, the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Man, oh man. At first, I was kind of like, I was leaning more into this more. And I was a little bit more excited about the Air over the 17 Pro Max. But then I had to give the 17 Pro Max its fair shake, its fair share, and its fair usage. And after doing that, I can respect this phone highly. I very much respect it. This is the most productive from a battery perspective, productive from a pro camera delivery perspective, the most iPhone packed Pro Max that we've gotten to date. You have the new engineering for heat and how to handle heat and extending high performance, high delivery. And that's what this device should be and should continue to build upon going forward. Because the sector of this glass sandwich device, which this is an aluminum sandwich now, we just got glass on the front, fully aluminum unibody with a small glass cutout right here for the wireless charge. But this thing right here is given what a Pro Max or a Pro, slab phone should be. Like, these phones are at the moment of just refinement. These phones still have an area of some innovation to go, because as you guys can see, this was very innovative in my opinion for Samsung to finally, reduce sizing. I know people are, oh, they've been doing it over the waters. Well, I'm not over the waters. I'm in the States, and these are what we have at our disposal. They delivered the best foldable this year. Boom. Super slim, the smallest, the lightest foldable. Boom. Which is why it's very tough for me to pick one over the other. The iPhone in my life is a pro, content creation type device, go to a efficient, battery reliable device to lean on, a better communicator. That's one thing I think the iPhone in general, what keeps its pocket in the market is how well it communicates. Again, this is in the States. I know everywhere else, Android is the communication king, WhatsApp and whatnot. But in the States, for a communicator, if you have a family and a lot of them are locked in over here, you tend to I don't know. It's a weird world where some people are forced and then some people choose just because they want to, communicate with family in a certain fashion. But I've been doing a lot of communicating here. Again, my group chat is split though. Like my group chat, my bros who I talk to all the time, Terry and C Kid, they on this side of the pond. So I spend a lot of time over here. I communicate with my family and my bros. And my bros are like my family. They are family, bro. So that's huge for me. When it comes to the Android world and whatnot, I handle my business. All my business communications are over here. And I love doing it that way. Man, honestly, it's hard for me to pick one over the other. Like there's days and worlds and times where I'm just all in Z Fold 7. And I've been leaning that way heavy a lot more this year in 2025. But there are moments and times where I need that 17 Pro Max. I need that camera ability. I need to throw that, anamorphic lens. I need to stunt and get that pro, capture on there. I need to fill in B-roll. I could do it here. I've been doing it here. There's been a lot of B-roll in my content that you guys wouldn't even know was shot on the Z Fold 7. And there's a lot of content that will be and has been captured on the 17 Pro Max. Man, because y'all be wanting players to pick one. And I don't want to pick one. Actually, here's the reality. I don't have to pick one. Why? Because I carry both of these, and that's my answer. Peace. My name is CJ. I know tech, so you don't have to, even though I know you guys know everything. That's not a cop-out. That's my reality. These are my everyday carry, and I'm not picking one or the other. I've seen a lot of people in the comment section, why pick when you can have both? I'm not picking. I got both.